I heard a little skip and a little jump in there, and I thought, oh, and we have our children on stage today. This is awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I would like to first open in prayer, and then I have a little exercise for the children. So I'm going to ask you, welcome to Unity of Palm Harbor. I'm going to ask you to take a breath in and close those outer eyes. Be still and know that I am God. I know that I am loved, and I breathe in and fill my body and trust and spirit. I breathe out and release any fear. Spirit has the perfect solution for any concern that I may have in my life. I sleep peacefully and awake joyously. I am divinely guided to take perfect, right action. I allow myself to feel supported by my friends, and I expect and receive miracles every day. Right this moment, Spirit is in charge, knows what to do, and knows that all is well. I let go and let Spirit work perfectly in every area of my life. I am at peace. I am grateful. I am loved, and so it is as we let it be. Amen. So this morning has a little teaser to what we're going to do in our lesson today. Sometimes we don't always speak kindly to one another. So I found these little reptilian brains called alligators. Can you hear them? Whoops, maybe. So I would like each one of you to take an alligator. Yes, thank you, I appreciate that. He's even got sunglasses in case you need to be an invisible reptilian brain. So I want everyone to have a little reptilian brain because sometimes we speak unkindly. Sometimes we don't think about our words and we don't realize the impact that they might have on somebody. So if we have our little, and you guys can squeak your squeakers. If you'll squeak your little reptilian brains, it will remind you playfully, joyfully, that when we say something that is not in our God integrity, when we speak out of a place of fear, or we begin to doubt the magnificence of who we all are, we have an opportunity. Will you squeak, squeak, squeak? Let me hear them. Squeak, squeak, be really loud, be really loud. So we're going to call these, that reptilian brain, that one that comes from that place of survivorship. Instead of it being a place of empowerment, it comes from a place of fear. And we want to love all of ourselves, the light side, the shadow side. So each person is going to get a love bag. And I want you to put your reptilian brain that sometimes forgets into a love bag. Can you do that? These little bags have hearts on them. And so that means sometimes we're going to act out unconsciously, but we know in the end that God is love and everything is love. So in your little bag, when you forget, because sometimes we act out, we're going to surround it in love. So if you guys will all put your little alligators, your reptilian brains in the love bags, you can still squeak it, but now we're doing it from a place of love. Now we're remembering the God inside each one of us. And that when we speak words that are sometimes harsh or cold or cruel, we can surround these same very reptilians in love. How do you guys think about that? Has there ever been a time in your life maybe you've said something that isn't so kind? And now you can wrap it up in love, and you can even hide him under sunglasses, like an invisible cloak. Yeah, so give one more big squeak out, and I'm going to ask you to stand up and show everybody. Will you stand up? There you go. Stand up and show everybody, and squeak, 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 squeak. Yes. And now we're going to love, 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 love. So I'm going to send a blessing out to each and every one of you that we have the power to be creative, to be thoughtful, to be loving, to be kind. And when we forget, we're going to squeak and put it on our love bag. So thank you, each and every one of you, and have a wonderful lesson today. Okay, So you're going to hear a little bit about this later in today's service. But I want to remind everyone that we're getting ready to begin our fall program. See, you just got to love the squeakers. Don't let your doggies get them. No vet bills. So we are doing What You See Is What You Get as our fall program. We have 3 beautiful facilitators. You're going to hear about it in a little bit. But what I want you to consider are the topics. How to be authentic, how to live in integrity, how to work with the idea of humility, how to step into self-responsibility, and how to know each and every one of us is worthy. So you'll see some of this coming around the corner. There's sign-ups in the foyer. And so with that, let us begin.
I invite you to prepare for meditation, to get comfortable in your seat, to tap into that heart space, and to just relax in this moment. Sometimes meditations have a tendency to wander. And from the Bible, we take these words. For everything, there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pull up what is planted. A time to hurt and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. You might remember that back in the mid-1960s, there was a popular song out by the Byrds that used a lot of these words. It was called Turn, Turn, Turn. We don't hear many songs with the words of the Bible today. Kind of a shame. So what else happened back then? The Beatles played their final concert in Wales. The space capsule Gemini 6 returned safely to Earth. The movie Dr. Zhivago premiered in New York City. And as always, Christmas came and went. We welcomed a new year, and life goes on. We are moved when things end and delighted with new beginnings. After all, we are humans made in the image of our Creator, and beginnings and endings are the hallmark of creation. We were born unable to speak, but we learned and grew. Now we know words, but not always how to use them wisely. We resist changes like hurricanes and tornadoes and earthquakes and tell ourselves, this too will pass. And in the aftermath, we come together because we are all the same, one being made in that loving image. When we surrender to love, we shine, for it is in our weakness that we are strong, in our strength and our struggles that we thrive, in our vulnerability that we renew our spirit. So now, as we take a moment in the silence, I invite you to find your path to love, find your sanctuary, for there you will find peace in the silence. We return to this moment, renewed, restored, and repaired, because we are in the presence of a power greater than we are. We can use it in all ways, for always and forever. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Marilyn. She forgot. Your minister was born in the 60s, too. Lots of stuff in the 60s, lots of stuff. And something that was shared with me by a family member, and I think they may do this also in other parts of the country, but my stepfather's about 83 years old, and he served in Vietnam. He was in the special intelligence arena and witnessed many things that none of us would want to see. But they have invited him to Washington, D.C. as part of a group of veterans from World War II in Vietnam, and they're going to spend all day going to the memorials. And at the end of this adventure that is fully paid for by the state of Nevada, this group that he's a part of, we've all written a letter like mail call. So we all wrote a letter. So at the end of it, he's going to receive, like back in the day in the 60s, when they did mail call, which was just the life thread for so many of our people who served overseas. So just keep that beautiful, holy, sacred hush for everyone who is recognized today, and especially for those who gave their life for everyone, so that we might still be a free country. So just thank you for sharing that part, Marilyn. That's what came up for me. So I'm asking Rob to share a PowerPoint presentation today. I wanted to bring some humor into a fairly serious subject so that I can talk to you about this whole theme that we've been talking about with our words that have power, and to recognize and understand that how we use words can create and also destroy. So if you read the newsletter, you might have seen that it looked like possibly the apostle that I will say Mary, apostle to the apostles, even recognized by the Pope. And so we say the Apostle of Audacity. And when you think biblically, the Apostle of Audacity might also have been Jesus of Nazareth, because he did not come and always bring peace. Oftentimes he stirred up the people who were in power, who thought they had the only voice, and he proved it to be very different. So here's our buddy Jesus, and he's walking along the waterfront, and Chicken Little comes flying out going, "The sky is falling! The sky is falling!" And Jesus says, "No, no, little one, the kingdom is rising." So when we go through our day and something startles us, something mystifies us, something that we look at in our own perspective is not whole or healthy, remember, it is our perspective. That kingdom within, that place of silence, that place of going within, that God within, is this right here. "No, little one, the kingdom is rising." So Jesus is going along his way, and he wants to bring some friends. He wants to create community. So about 2,000 years ago, in a tiny little fishing village called Galilee. Anybody hear about Galilee? So in this tiny little fishing village called Galilee, a man named Yeshua, or we might know him as Jesus, see, y'all are good, strode along the lakeside watching two brothers fishing. And he calls to them and he says, "Follow me, I will make you fishers of men." So what I want to bring together is, as we create community, we call out and bring people to be a part of our community. So as he's doing his little tour along Galilee, he sees another family of fishermen. And going on from there, he saw two brothers, James, the son of Zebedee, and John, his brother, in the boat. And they're doing their fishing nets. They're mending their nets. So what do you think Jesus did? He invited them. He's making community. He wants a whole table of at least 12, and he's only up to 3, 4 now. So he invites them to follow along. Jesus we know as the rabbi, the way shower, the teacher, and he gathers these people together and he goes to the synagogues and he teaches them. He preaches the gospel about the kingdom of heaven is within. He shows people literally these healing powers of every disease and every infirmity among people. And what do you think happened? He got famous. More people heard about it, more people started coming. We know he went on top of a mountain. We know he's in a valley. People are like, who is this man named Jesus? So sometimes we have to recognize, even amongst Jesus' closest followers, Peter the rock, Peter who represents faith. Peter screwed up all the time. Over and over and over again, he questioned what Jesus was doing. He didn't know what the mission was. He got a little exuberant at times. And Jesus was like, Peter, you need to calm down. You need to calm down. So the closest people to God we understand with our words, with our actions. Sometimes we miss the mark. And in unity, we call that sin. It's an old Bible term that when you actually raise back that arrow and you miss the mark, you have sinned. And we look at sin as being absent from the love of God. We don't look at it that you are a bad person, but you are in error thinking. You have missed the mark. So we forget for just a moment. We forget, as our little children were up here, with the reptilian minds, with the alligators that we soaked and put in love, we forget that we are both divine and human. This, we call it error thinking. We run around like little chicken little. Oh, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. In unity, we often speak of God as principle, as life, as intelligence. We say that creative intelligence, that divine mind of which all of us are an expression. And yes, we speak of God as love. So when we miss that mark, we may lose sight of our connection to God, to love itself. So if God is love, then forgetting God is forgetting love. And in that forgetting, we experience separation, confusion, and sometimes pain. But the truth always remains. That current underlying all remains. Love never leaves us. So in divine order, we remember love is always at play and brings us back to God, back to our center, as we remember our divine connection. See our little heart with the chicken little? So I want everyone to know, to be very present to the concept, there is no lack in God. Everything we need, everything we dream, everything we desire is already manifested in the mind of God. We are that beautiful expression coming into the physical plane, into the physical world. So only in our own mindset, only in our own perception, in our consciousness, do we forget and pretend that maybe there is lack. So only there is no lack in God. Say it with me. There is no lack in God. So wake up. Some of y'all were here a few weeks ago when Reverend Marilyn came up and she said, blow up or grow up. Chicken Little is our wake-up call to our own consciousness. And when we believe there isn't enough, we begin to act from that space of lack. We often act out irrationally from our reptilian brain, not our spiritual integrity, and we say things that we cannot take back. I'm sure everybody in here has said at some point something they wish they had never said, and maybe it would have changed the outcome of certain things that took place in your life. Words have power. Do you hear me in the back? Do you hear me in the back? So when we speak from fear, we are amplifying panic. When we speak from truth, we awaken possibilities, infinite possibilities. So Chicken Little isn't just loud, it's a mirror. The things that trigger us give us an opportunity to look within and say, ooh, why does that not feel so good inside me? What is it about this trigger that is already within me? So what are we amplifying with our words? Love, love. So the mirror becomes a wake-up call and we say, what is it that I'm calling out for? What is wounded within me? What fear exists within me? What trust am I not placing in that beautiful divine intelligence of the universe? What am I taking control of, as if we have any control? What am I saying has to be the only way? Do you remember when Charles Fillmore spoke? He said the reason unity does not have any specific dogma or creed is because if you say there's only one way, then you've already missed the relationship with Spirit. Remember, he studied many different religions, many different spiritual practices. And together they said, we think for us, Jesus, the way shower, shows us how to get that relationship closer to the God within that we're all able to access. But if you get so tied up in dogma and rules, then you miss the whole magic of being in a relationship. So we ask ourselves the question, what am I believing to be true? What am I forgetting about the truth of my divine nature and that the universe is always supporting us? And the only way we can answer this is to go back to the very beginning. Love is the Alpha and the Omega. Love is the answer. So we ask ourselves, what is the mission? What is our alignment together at Unity of Palm Harbor? And what is our mission individually? And you can see here there's a little feather hanging out by maybe Galilee or maybe Lake Tarpon. I don't know. And the Chicken Little has left the red bullhorn. So we see divine order and truth and possibility, and we know that love is present and current. So even Jesus had a wake-up call, and I've done this one around the Easter celebration. And his wake-up call was not from some entity far up in the sky, from the clouds with angels and trumpets. It was from a kiss. And who was that kiss from? And what do we call Judas? The betrayer. And as I studied more about Judas, I thought, you know what? Judas did exactly what Judas was called to do. He wanted Jesus to step up the process and get with it. Make things happen a little faster. Now, the Bible plays out something so we can have a scapegoat. But we also recognize if we believe in the divine mind, then Jesus knew the mission the whole time. There was never separation. He even bathed Judas's feet when he came to the table. He loved all of his disciples, even the one that acted out as he thought he should. But Jesus already knew the mission. He already got it. So Judas didn't derail the mission, but revealed the mission. Take that in. Take that in. So for me personally, I have been reminded of what my mission is and what it always continues to be. When I was called to become a minister, and some of you have seen the articles I've written, I had to get really quiet in a class called Credo. So Credo is, what do I believe? What is my mission? Why did I become a minister? And for me, that truth is creating sacred, safe spaces for people to gather. That includes for me to feel that I am in a sacred, safe space. So, Jesus whispered in the Aramaic translation, "For this I was kept." It's not betrayal, it's clarity. And for me, I've had my Judas moment here at Unity of Palm Harbor. And I remembered a few weeks ago when I wasn't here and Marilyn took the stage, I went to another Unity and I listened and I got really still and really quiet when we were doing the meditation. And I was asking in my own tomb space, what is mine to do? What is mine to do? There had been an upset. There had been an upset and words were used that were not kind. Words were used that were destructive and not creative. Words were used in such a way that I didn't know that I could come back from them. So I sat there in this meditation of this congregation in St. Petersburg, and I said, God, you led me to Palm Harbor. Now let me know what I need to do. And the answer is love. And love said, it's time to go. So today I'm in front of you because I've submitted my resignation. I am leaving Unity of Palm Harbor as a senior minister.